Hey everyone. Oh, sorry, I think I'm here twice. Bear with me. Okay. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Yeah, double trouble, Sean, indeed. Okay, sorry for the late start. And welcome along to this week's deep dive. My name is Marcus, Customer Success Manager here at Sendible. And today, stereo mode, Pete, I know. Today we're going to take a look at one of Sendible's premium features, okay? And that is going to be the ability to add custom tags or merge tags or placeholders. And we're also going to go into adding UTM codes into your post. Okay. The session will last roughly about 30 minutes. I'll do my bit for the first half, and then I'm going to invite Sean from my support team to come and answer any of your questions. So if you do have any questions throughout today's session, at the bottom right-hand side, you will see there's a few extra tabs. So you've got the chat tab where you can see Peter and Sean commenting on my entry. And next to the chat tab, you've got the questions tab. So if you have any questions in relation to the topic today, then please get your questions in that tab there. Okay, now for those of us that have been here before, before we get started, we like to have a little icebreaker. And I struggled with this week's icebreaker, but there's a few shows that are kind of entering on my timeline that are giving me some interest. So I want your opinion on which one of these shows you recommend. Have you seen them? What do you rate them out of 10? So the three shows are the new Rings of Power, so the Lord of the Rings origin story, I've heard. The new Game of Thrones, there's a little bit of a trend here, but the Game of Thrones prequel. And to mix it up a bit, Marvel's She-Hulk. Have you seen any of them? Do you recommend any? A little rating out of 10. I will let you know I have seen a bit of She-Hulk. I think it's okay. Doesn't deserve all of the hate that I've seen online. But let me know your views and I will start to share my screen. Don't be shy. If you haven't seen them, let me know you haven't seen, and then I'll work on a better icebreaker for next time. We've got Sean. He recommends Lord of the Rings. Okay, one.
Hey guys, Marcus will be back in a moment, so please keep your answers coming in about She-Hulk, which is far superior than any of the other shows, and Games of Thrones, which I'm yet to see. And if you really need to spend your time watching Rings of Power, then you can do that as well. Here he is. See, told you it wouldn't be long.
Thank you for chipping in, Pete. I'm sorry.
Worries,
I think I'm maybe suffering from a bit of a bad internet connection, which is typical. So if it does kick me out again, I'll be right back. Right, let me share my screen this time and hopefully it will not boot me out again. Here we go. All right, you should all be able to see my calendar. All right, good. So the first thing I want to talk about is the custom tags, the placeholder tags, how to set them up, where to find them, how to use them. So the first place I'm going to actually take you to is to my profile section, and I'm going to look at my profiles. Because as you've been adding and managing your profiles, sharing and transferring ownership of those profiles, you may have noticed that one of the fields that we have behind these three dots is a tagging option. Okay, so this will allow you to tag your profiles with additional information. So if I take a look at the tags that I have present at the moment on a profile level, we'll see that I can collect a website and a phone number for all of my profiles. So I can tag my social profiles with additional information. Okay, so that's what you can do on a profile level. Now, if I head over to a user level, so for all of the admins with us today, you have access to manage users. And this is the area that you can kind of create these custom tags and also apply these to your users. So if I take a look at myself, for example, when I'm editing myself as a user or creating a new user, we have at the bottom left-hand side a tab called Other. This is where you can go and create these custom fields for a user level. You can actually click the new field here and complete what that field should be. So maybe you want to collect an alternative email or website, or so some custom information on a user level. However, while still in Manage Users, on the left-hand side, we have a dedicated section for custom fields. This will allow you to manage, create, and edit the custom fields on both a user level, where we haven't created any yet, and on a profile level. And that is where you will see the website and that phone field that I previously saw on a profile level. So let's go ahead, let's create some new fields and see what we can do with those fields once they're present and attached to users and profiles. So we'll start with users and we'll create a new field. And this one, as I mentioned, it may be like an alternative email. Okay, so that would be the title of the field. Then we can decide whether we must complete that, if it's going to be a mandatory field or not. In this case, I'm happy for it to be optional. So it will appear in my user pop-up. But if they don't have an alternative email, that's completely fine. Then what type of data am I trying to collect for this field? Okay, so text would be fine. But if it was a website that I was collecting, I could make it URL. If it was like someone's date of birth or an event date, then I could add the date field here. So I'm happy to keep this as just a text field. And then if I'm creating more than one new field, I can basically order my fields by using this option here. So I can go ahead and save a new field on a user level called alternative email. I'll go ahead and create another one for a phone number as well. So I can just say alternative phone number. Okay. Field type in this case is going to be a bit different. That's going to be numeric. And this can be the second field on a user level. Okay, so I've got two new fields on a user level here. And I can now go and create or edit some of my fields on a profile level. So I've got website and phone already. What's another thing that might be unique to a profile? If I'm got profiles for shops, then I might need their address, their postcode, and so on. So let's go and create a new field, and we'll just have an address field. This will be a text area, as it may need to be a little bit longer than the general like email and so on. Okay, and I'll make this the last field in my website profile area. Okay, so I've got two custom tags on the user level, 3 custom tags on a profile level. So let's head back now into Manage Users. And let's start to apply some of my new user fields to a user. So let's customize my own user seat here. And now if I go into Other, we will see that I have an alternative email and an alternative phone number. So I can go in here and just add an additional number. So I'll do Marcus plus webinar, Sendible.com, and then just like a 07. I don't think that's anyone's real number, so we should be okay. And I can go ahead and update this user. Okay, so now we have additional information stored for Marcus. Okay, so I can use this in one of two ways. If I had hundreds of users, I could use that custom information to locate this user in my list of users. Okay, so let me quickly do a refresh just to push those changes through. And as mentioned, if I was searching for this user, I could search over here, and you will now see you've got an advanced field here. This will allow me to search for my alternative email and or my number here. So if I put webinar in here and search, that should filter the results. No, didn't want to work like that. It should have basically found it, but maybe if I do a plus webinar. No, okay, so I might need to enter my whole email address. So let's go ahead and do this. Sendible.com. Something is gone wrong, but that should allow me to find that user. So apologies that that hasn't quite worked out like that. However, let's go into our profiles, and then we can start to tag our profiles with some of these custom fields as well. So let's look at my Point MMA profiles down here, okay? So to tag this, we know we can go to our 3 dots on the right-hand side, hit tags, and then we can add a website for Point MMA, a phone number, and an address. So let's go ahead and get that sorted. So bear with me, I'll get my Point MMA URL here. Then my website address here, pointmma.com. And I've got a phone number that I can add in here. And then my address can just be Point MMA headquarters. Okay. So I can go ahead and save this information for that Instagram profile. Okay. And I can do it for all of my Point MMA profiles and have that custom information tagged. So if I just go ahead and do that again. So I've got a phone number, a website. And an address. So we just say MMA headquarters. Okay, so I've tagged my Point MMA on Facebook and on Instagram. And as you saw, some of my other profiles were previously tagged. So Mr. Dubs over on Instagram has his tags, mrdubs.com, and a telephone number. The barbershop, Hair Force One, will have some tags as well. So if we look here, we've got hairforce1.co.uk, a phone number, and now I've got the ability to add an address. So I can maybe say 155 Street. Okay, so I've got a few of my profiles tagged. I've got my own personal user tags as well. So how can this be used when creating a post? So let us open the compose box here. Now, if I'm publishing to profiles that have previously been tagged, so let's go ahead and select my Point MMA over here and also my Mr. Dubs. Okay, and let's get one for Instagram as well. So I'm doing a post to Mr. Dubs and to Point MMA, both being previously tagged. So then I can go in and create my post. Okay, so if I just add a bit of dummy text here for you guys. Now, at this stage, I can start to include my custom tags. Okay, so I have a website, so I could say visit, and then I can insert my custom tag. Now, the way to insert your custom tags into your compose box would be by clicking this little book icon that is present inside the compose box. So I'll select it here. Now you can head over to placeholders. This is where you'll be able to reference what we've just created. So under placeholders, you've got your profile tags and your user tags. So as I've said, visit, I obviously want them to visit my website. So I can insert that website tag. Okay, so it says visit, and then this is that custom website tag. Now, bear in mind, this will never be shown on that social media channels. When published, it's going to be converted and replaced with that value that lives on a profile level. Okay, so they can visit or they can call, and then I can insert my phone tag. Okay, so I can go here and add my custom phone tag. Okay. Or they can email me. All right, so I can say or email and then add my user, my alternative user email address. So let's go back into that book icon into placeholders, switch down into user tags. Now it knows that I am logged in. So if I put this email address here, it should insert that alternative email address on the user level, okay? So it's going to look at what dashboard you're in and how that user dashboard has been tagged. So let's insert this. I'm just going to add a bit of media here, just to remove this little warning here. So I'm just going to go into my media library. I have a little website launch image, so we can just get this added. Hasn't removed the validation for Instagram. So let me just edit here, show off my image editor for you guys quickly. By editing this image and picking, let's say, Instagram square. Let's go for this crop here. Let's try Instagram landscape. Maybe I can get a bit more. That's fine. Now I can save this. This will reformat the image. And as you can see, it's removed my tag here. Okay, so what have we done here? We've added 3 custom tags. So we have a website, a phone number, both on a profile level. Okay, and then it's going to look at my alternative email on a user level. So I'm going to go ahead and send this post out, and then we can go and check Point MMA and Mr. Dubs, and let's see if that data is transferred properly. Remember, if you have any questions at this point, please get them added to the questions tab below, and we'll have some, we'll be able to assist afterwards. Also, let us know if you're already using this feature, if you're finding it useful, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the results of those posts. So we're going to head over to our social feeds. Remember, social feeds is basically a replica of what people see on Facebook, Instagram, and so on. So the first thing we're going to want to have a look is Mr. Dubs UK. And then we can see that we've got our copy here. We've got visit mrdubs.com, or call the phone number that was attached to the Mr. Dubs Facebook profile. Or you can email, and then it's added my email address here as well. Okay, so it's all come together quite nicely. What does that same post look like though for Point MMA? Should have a different website, a different email, phone number, but it should still keep my alternative email address, right? Because it's still the same user that created that post. So let's take a look. Okay, so we've got visit pointmma.com. We've got a different phone number. And as I said, that same email address is present. So it's really easy. And as I said, we can also look at the Instagram posts, and that should have come through exactly the same. But if Instagram had a different phone number, different custom information, then that would also be used. Okay. Fantastic. So that's all worked brilliantly. Now, another thing I wanted to mention in this session, and I know we're running out of time, but I haven't seen many questions come through. But within your compose box, you can actually, let's select a few profiles here. So let's go back to Mr. Dubs. We'll do Mr. Dubs Facebook. So once again, you may be creating a post and you may wish to use a link in your post, but you also may want to track that link. Okay. So if I put a copy in here, and then let's get a link to the Sendible website over here, maybe the product blog would be good. So you may want to add a link, but you may want to track the link, add some UTM parameters to the URL that you're going to use. So before adding your link to the compose box, what we allow you to do is to click on this icon, this little cog tag here. And this is where you can add or create or add a template to the link you wish to use. So if I add a link to the Sendible product page, I can go ahead and create those parameters. So the source, the campaign, the medium, etc., and really start to track and tag my link. Okay. You can also create templates as well. So I could add a template for webinars or for different campaigns that I'm working on. But you'll find in this drop down, you should all have a Google Analytics save template, and that will bring through the source, the medium, the campaign, ready for you to add a value. Okay, so in this case, the source is going to be Sendible. Okay, this is where the traffic's really coming from. The medium could be sort of social or Twitter, Instagram, and so on. So we could just say social if I'm publishing to more than one network. And the campaign is more specific to what is that post campaign about. So in this instance, it would be maybe webinars or deep dives. So I could literally apply and insert this URL with these parameters. So if I take that action, okay, that is added the link in that compose box behind here. And you can see it's added the bit.ly link. It's brought through the link preview. And if I test this link, if I click this link, it will open in a new tab. And you will see that it should have the UTM Sendible, the medium social, and the campaign webinar. Okay, so as I start to get traffic on this URL, I'll be able to go into my Google Analytics dashboard and actually be able to see how much traffic have I received from this specific URL or from the Sendible medium or from the campaign webinar. You'll be able to track those different views. Sean will be sending a really useful blog to kind of guide you more on the best ways to set those up and how to track your results back in the Google Analytics dashboard. Okay, so I have gone over my time. We've got 7 minutes left for questions. I'm going to invite Sean in to the chat. So if I just stop sharing my screen, Sean, feel free to join me.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And hello, everybody.
Yes, welcome to your first webinar. It's great to have you
here. Yeah. So yeah, really great. It's a really amazing feature that you've gone over there in terms of like the flexibility and how powerful it can be, especially for large teams. That's why it's important to note that if some of you in here are looking for this, or if you're watching this and you're not able to access that feature or make use of it, it's just important to know that it is for expansion accounts only. So it is aimed at those larger teams. Again, and as Savannah said there, for franchise owners or operators, so that they can make use of posting to multiple locations at once, while still being able to streamline that speed to post time, because they're going to be able to use all those custom tags to quickly get all that information put in those posts. So just something to keep in mind there. And I've got a few other little things I wanted to share. So one thing that's also important that you guys want to keep in mind when you are using this feature, some social sites do have various guidelines around posting things such as addresses and phone numbers. So you do want to make sure that you check the community guidelines for various social medias. That can be done pretty easily. Just going to Google, doing a search for community guidelines, and then the name of the social media. They do change pretty regularly. So I can't speak to exactly which ones at this time, but it is good to just check out and keep in the loop with, and just make sure you're having a look at. So yeah, and don't forget, guys, any questions, now's a good time to definitely ask them, and we'll take a shot at them. But I'm going to share my screen too, because I wanted to show you two things. Firstly, I wanted to show the really awesome blog that we have. And that blog is our Insight blog, and it's definitely available to everybody. And it is something that I think you guys will really enjoy. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here. Right, so this is where you can find that guide that Marcus was referencing. UTM is a massive topic, and Marcus has done an awesome job of talking about it and getting a little bit of information, but it is a deep dive. And so this article is super, super helpful. So please do check it out. You can get to it by going to the resources and then the blog section, and then you just search for UTM. We'll bring it up. I'm also going to post it in the chat here for anybody, just so you can take a look at the link. And then check it out. But it's a great read. Really gives you an in-depth look at using these, and how best to leverage them for media ROI, which is a good thing there as well. Now the other thing as well that I just wanted to take a quick look at for you guys here was we were going to have a little look at, so we had a mention of the post, and we were looking at putting in those specific little tags. And now Marcus was mentioning that you do see them show like this. And for, I think, a few people here, especially myself, when I first started using it, I was a bit concerned that it was not quite working right. And this is a little post I prepared earlier, kind of like those cooking shows, you know. This is one that I took care of a little earlier to show you. And so you can see how when I created that, it does show it. It even shows it in the sent menu. So if you're working completely from inside Sendible, which, you know, is very common, of course, you may see this and be a little concerned, but don't worry. If you just go ahead and check your social feeds and look at the posts that you have sent out, you can see that it is definitely not showing that, and it's going to be using that merge field, or sorry, the custom tag there. And if you go to the actual site as well that you posted to, you can also see that it is posted there correctly as well. So not to worry, that's definitely going to be showing correctly to all of your clients there.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
There isn't any questions, but there is something that I forgot, and you just reminded me when you was talking about how those tags are displayed. So just get back to my dashboard. If we take a look at the sent items on my dashboard, you will see that they do contain those tags. And once again, you know, if your profile didn't contain a tag, there's no chance that this would be published. It would just be removed completely. Okay, so if you are publishing to a profile that hasn't got tags and you're including placeholders, no fear, it will just be blank. Now, a question that comes up sometimes is, hey, I like to use the Sendible bulk composer, but I am unable to pull these tags in, okay, which is technically true. If you are in the bulk composer and you are trying to publish to, let's say, Mr. Dubs, there isn't a way to click the book icon, go to your placeholder tab, and to enter this information. But what you can do is you can use those same tags. If you've sort of copied and you've got a reference of those tags, you can just say, call me, whoops, let's change that around. And you can enter that custom tag as shown here in the bulk composer. So if you had them maybe in a notepad or hosted offline, you can still use the bulk composer, and you could go ahead and, let's say, get this post sent out. What time are we? Almost 5:30. So let's go ahead. Nope. I think we just, let's go. Sorry, I mean AM, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll do 5. Only let me select it. 5:33. Let's make it safe. So now I can import this. So that will show as scheduled in just a moment. Yep. Still showing that custom tag. But if I edit and just get that sent now, we know that that will be replaced with the phone number associated to Mr. Dubs. Okay. And if I add a Facebook page that hasn't got a phone number, we can kind of take a look at that as well. So we'll get those sent straight away. Okay. And just to kind of show you what I mean, just take a second or two to come through. You can see the profile that did not have a phone number tag just says call me, whereas Mr. Dubs that does have a phone number will come through in just a second. Or was it Point MMA? Which one is it? It's Mr. Dubs. Oh no, it was Point MMA, my fault. So you can say that was tagged, so the phone number is producing. So just a way of showing you that you can use those custom tags offline or in a bulk composer and still get the same results. So I hope that little extra nugget of information was useful. Don't seem to have any questions today. Kind of expected that, because I know it's one of those features that are not on everyone's package, but hopefully we've kind of shown you the benefit of those features. And if you need to sort of find out a bit more, please reach out to us and we can show you a bit more. Okay, please, let's take a look at what's happening next week. You'll be able to join Pete and Farinaz, where we take a deep dive into the priority inbox and social feeds. If you haven't registered, please feel free to click on the header within the announcements tab, get yourself registered, and we will see you at the same time next week. Sean, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure having you. And everyone else, I wish you a happy Thursday evening or Thursday afternoon, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Whoops, I'm back.
Pleasure is mine.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
for having me.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully we'll have better connection next week. So I do apologize for me coming and going. All right, everyone. Take care. Thanks again.
See ya.